Very good evening, friends. This side Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. Before I speak, let me remind you, like any other YouTube video, our YouTube video also having a dialog box. In this dialog box, there is a paragraph followed by a link. If you click on this link, you would be able to reach to the free groups by Treasury Consulting. Apart from that, if you wanted to have any information about our paid programs, about paid Telegram groups, you know, our trainings, our recently concluded video trainings, or any other thing about Treasury Consulting, you can WhatsApp us at 9818485155. I repeat, 9818485155. Today, two things surprised me pretty well. Of course, number one is that thankfully, the US and ICs are not in red and they are in green. Probably one of the reason is the US GDP numbers came very well. They got a GDP boost of around 33%. And trust me, I don't believe it. How can that possible that the pandemic just wiped out trillions of dollars of wealth across the globe and US GDP grew by 33%? But still, you know. And second thing that really surprised me is a statement by Airtel. So let me read this statement for you, which is that Airtel is expecting, the average revenue per user of around 300 and subsequently to 200 and subsequently to 300. And in September quarter, they reported average revenue per user of 162, which was 128 one year ago, which means good growth. And we understand that work from home is one of the important reasons behind that, because there is a huge consumption of internet which is happening across the globe. In fact, I was watching one of the speakers who was saying that the Netflix, Amazon Prime, Twitter, and all these electronic platforms are viewed several times what they used to be. And if this pandemic continue, and the probability is very high, because as I speak, at least three names, Germany, France, and Spain, these three names already set the lockdown. Italy, Finland, Switzerland, and few other, they are under discussion mode. And I'm expecting probably by 2 weeks or so, they would definitely came up and they say, thank you very much, we are going ahead with the lockdown. So expecting 200 rupees of average revenue per user is really very, I'm not saying it's an impossible job, but it's not an easy job as well. And this line is really, I think I'm not been able to digest this line, which is, Airtel Chief Executive Officer Mr. Gopal Vittal said, addressing analysts at the post-earning conference on Wednesday, Mr. Vittal didn't give a timeline for a tariff hike, but expressed confidence about the higher prices in future. Amazon is having one-to-one with Reliance in retail segment, and unfortunately here Amazon is getting an edge, unfortunately from Reliance angle. And today news confirmed that Amazon is taking the order which they got from Singapore court to the Indian High Court. Which High Court? Just I'll tell you. Yeah, they are moving to the High Court, whereby what they are saying that the order which they got for Future Group from a Singapore court should be implemented as early as possible. I really don't know what would happen afterwards. It might end up a little crash in Reliance shares and maybe Future Group. So on a retail side, Reliance is one-to-one with Amazon. In telecom wise, Reliance is one-to-one with Vodafone and Bharti, and especially 4G customers. Currently, all three telecom companies, whether it is Jio, it is Airtel, or it is Vodafone, they are trying very hard to convert 2G to 4G. We also understand that if 2G customers go, then BSNL would be the heaviest, I would say, exposed. I cannot say exposed, but I can say that BSNL would be facing loss. When BSNL also shared there's some concern in that regards, but only the time will tell, because migrating all 2G customers to 4G is really not easy. It is a highly capital intensive job. That's more important. Because generally speak from an Indian context, 2G customers are always there in the rural areas. And transforming rural areas to 4G, it's little tough, at least to me. So this is one thing. Treasury Consulting already expressed that we are long in Airtel. It's not because the CEO of the Airtel said we are long. We are long in Airtel because of some other reason. And we expect that our target price in the Airtel would come as early as possible, which is definitely more than 550. As simple as that. Another thing that really hits me is something which at least I have not been able to digest till now. And that is the Chinese got 29% share, not share, purchase in Indian steel exports between April to September. So before I give the data to you, one thing that really surprised me, guys, India and China is facing political standoff. They are facing military standoff. The government of India banned 59 apps, including TikTok. Government of India banned more apps afterwards. And irrespective of that, China bought 1.9 million tons of India total 6.5 billion, which is precisely 29% between April to September. And this is highest in the last 6 years. Come on, guys. The country had imported 2,500 tons from India in the same 6 months period last financial year. I really don't understand that. How come that pushed China? What is really pushing China to import from India? For two reasons. One is the political standoff, I understand. And another thing is the global pandemic. Global pandemic dented real estate sector extremely hard worldwide. And no country of the world is an exception to that. The real estate sector hit it very hard across the globe. And majority of the steel consumption is in the real estate sector. And guys, I hope you look at the Boeing and the Airbus results, like, let me read for you. Boeing Corporation is deepening job cuts as a global pandemic and prolonged grounding of 737 MAX jetliners squeeze by plane maker finances. An additional 7,000 jobs are slated for elimination by the end of next year, bringing the total workforce reduction through the retirement, attrition, and layoff to 30,000 people. Boeing said in an email on Wednesday the company had 160,000 employees at the start of the years. Precisely 30,000 people are either retired or attrited or asked to go. So this is Boeing and Airbus, right? Real estate sector, we know where the real estate sector. And if you guys do not trust, just open Google and type HSI, Hong Kong Hang Seng Index, Hong Kong Hang Seng Index, and just type the Chinese index and just see the share price of the real estate companies of China, those who are listed, and in Hong Kong. You will get to know what I'm talking. So what made China imported so much of steel? That is something I've not been able to digest. And another thing is the Vietnam. After China, Vietnam was the second largest importer of Indian steel, buying 1.6 million tons. That is real surprising factor for me. And That is not only a surprising, rather that opened another stream for me which I never thought of, which is in now that I'm going to be looking at the steel companies of India very carefully now onwards. And I'm sure that I will definitely find I will definitely get some good stocks in the steel industry also. Of course, few steel industry stocks are on my radar. There is no doubt about that. But I never thought about steel industry that way versus today after getting this data. It's very difficult to predict that the import which China did, they are not going to do it again. We really don't know. And if they're going to do, then this will definitely good for India. This is definitely good for steel industry, and this is definitely good for the stocks. Now what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be doing a lot of research on this article, and I'm going to be covering that which all companies imported to China. I'm going to be looking at some information and let me see which steel industry stock could be on fire in the near future. That is another source of revenue which we got today, but that is really a surprising thing when the pandemic is growing. China is importing steel irrespective of the fact that China is the largest steel producer of the globe. Anyways, this is how the market goes. Sometimes you get contradictory information, and that contradictory information ends up giving you more information. That is what it is, and that is how the life goes. This is Rahul from Treasury Consulting. You know our WhatsApp 9818485155. Have a great day.